Hi guys. So there's perhaps no better jumping off point to discuss the moral decline of our society than the recent incident involving Ghetts. For those of you that don't know, Ghetts is a grime MC from the UK. One of the best ever. Very, very, very good rapper. Been around for a long time. I think he's in his 40s. He's certainly, on the older side for a rapper. And a few days ago, he was allegedly drunk and stoned and driving at something like 70 miles an hour down a residential road, and he hit a 20-year-old, I think a Nepalese man who was on his way home from work, had been working all day, a normal job, not rapping and doing festivals and smoking weed, but a normal job, working hard to provide for his family. And he was killed. And Ghetts then drove home and went to sleep, allegedly. And he's now in jail awaiting trial, I think, because he's got a lot of priors and because he's had a lot of other driving offences and because there are a lot of additional sort of factors here. I think he's going to serve quite a long time in prison. So when I was growing up, I always thought it was really strange that driving incredibly fast and dangerously was perceived as a socially acceptable form of masculinity. As obviously some people would tut and say, you shouldn't do this, and a lot of us turn our noses up at people that behave like that. But it is kind of a socially acceptable form of masculinity. In general, engaging in ignorant kind of thuggish behaviour that endangers other people is accepted by many people as kind of an expression of masculinity, which is really bizarre and inverted because it's very infantile behaviour. It's very childlike behaviour. Masculinity used to be upholding the core values of society, not weird kind of spurious kind of social justice-y, modern, weird mental gymnastics ones, but the core values of society and, protecting those around you, being a good citizen, being sensible, making things safer, not making things more dangerous for other people. When you look back and you think of men, and obviously this was circumstantial, but you think of men that fought and died in wars to protect other people, or that did very honourable things, that gave their lives for other people, that did things to protect other people, would put themselves in harm's way to protect somebody else who was in danger. Driving at 70 miles an hour stoned and drunk down a residential road with music blaring, acting like you're cool, is the antithesis of that, literally. It's literally infantile, sort of toddlerish behaviour, and it is very consistently presented as and perceived as some form of masculinity. Ghetts is a particularly poignant example of this because I've been a fan of Ghetts' music for years, and I liked it a lot more before. I liked it more when it was unpretentious, and that's how I feel about a lot of rap music, is that I don't mind the ignorant, dumb shit that much. I mean, it's hard to take sometimes. I don't like when those people become incredibly preachy and arrogant and pseudo-intellectual and smug and have this weird, constant sort of pervasive sense that there's some kind of injustice perpetrated against them and that they're so much smarter than everyone else and they're so much better than everyone else and that they're kind of like a scholar and wise beyond their years and stuff. It's very irritating to listen to. And that was, I found over the last few years, has crept quite heavily into his music. And there's a kind of sanctimonious feeling to it, And I think that these kinds of sanctimonious bullshit values have replaced real values. Like, you don't really score any brownie points socially for being the kind of person, for example, that behaves very sensibly because you know it's the right thing to do, that avoids a stupid confrontation because you don't want to put your family who are with you in danger, or someone who insists on, you know, people around you using protective gear when you're doing something dangerous. You don't score any social brownie points for these things. You don't score social brownie points for doing things in the correct way, for upholding stability, safety, security, and decency, just like, you know, public decency. And yet that is what being a man is. Like, just being a grown-up as well, not just a man, but that's just like being a grown-up. Somehow you do, in a lot of circles, score a lot of social brownie points for this kind of like idiotic behavior, like driving like this, like breaking rules in a way, like as if we're like at school still, you know, when you're like a teenager and you're like testing boundaries and figuring out rules, and you have this chip on your shoulder. And I think Ghetts has a chip on his shoulder. Or, well, I don't know. I'd imagine his psychological state is quite fundamentally different now to how it was like a week ago. But I always got the feeling, or in recent years got the feeling in his music, he had a real chip on his shoulder. And sometimes doing things like this is an expression of that chip on your shoulder. Like, no, fuck you. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to follow the rules. I don't do this. I'm a fucking like maverick. I'm going to do what I want to do because I'm cool and I'm in control. And it's like, well, you're actually part of society, and whether you like it or not, you benefit from that enormously. You benefit from the safety and security that it provides. You benefit from other people behaving in like an orderly way and from having basic decency. So you might like to pretend that you're somehow above that, or you're cooler than that, or that doesn't apply to you, but it does. I mean, unless you're like, you know, homeless and live completely on the fringes of society, that does apply to you. There's a lot of pseudo-moralistic crap, basically, in his music. A lot of black empowerment stuff about like, oh, like, you have to find like black women beautiful, or you're like racist, and a lot of this kind of like, I'm so good because I love dark-skinned women, and how dare they don't want to see a black man rise. Like, I think they don't mind. I don't think anybody fucking minds, to be honest. I think what people don't like is when an innocent man, who by the way was not white, when an innocent man is on his way home from work, is minding his own business, living his life, trying to be a good person, a good member of society, and is killed by someone who is driving the way that really you would think like a 5-year-old would drive, you know? Like, why don't you worry about that? Like, if you can't manage such incredibly basic stuff, like being just an ordinary, respectable, functioning member of society, why are you talking about all this crap? Like, why are you talking about all this weird pseudo-intellectual, pseudo-moralistic crap when you can't even manage just like basic normal stuff? You can't even tend to like the society around you sort of basic moral requirements. And that's something, it's not just reflected in rap culture, although it is, and in the fandom, which it is massively. And there's so much weird, ridiculous hypocrisy there, because you've got all these like posh white kids who listen to it, and they endorse so much of this fucking idiotic behavior and mindset, and then they get really weird about all of these like racial and gender issues and stuff. And it's like, most of that stuff doesn't fucking matter in real life. Like, a man's dead now because of this. This is stuff that matters, you know? Like, this weird bullshit you study at university when you're just like, you know, you've like outstayed your welcome in the education system, and you're learning about like identity politics based ideologies and stuff, and you think that applies to the real world, and you're like dealing with like grown-ups who have jobs and pay taxes, and like people like this guy who's like working hard to look after his family, and you know, this shit it's not real. It's not real life. It's fucking nonsense. It's like a hobby for people. And so much of the shit that people like this talk about in their music when they want to like get on a deep one and like lecture you is like just bullshit that means nothing to people's real lives. You know, it's just cheap, easy bullshit to go, oh yeah, as well as being cool and as well as having guns and as well as being the best rapper, I'm also a really good person and I'm also really smart and wise and you should listen to me. And posh white kids listen at home and they go like, oh, that's crazy, man. Ghetts is really telling me about the world. I'm really learning about life here, man. No, you're not. You're not learning about life from a man who drives like that and behaves like that at his age, who's, you know, and this isn't, oh, he was late for an appointment and he was rushing. I'm not saying that's acceptable, but I'm also not saying it's never acceptable to go even a little bit over the speed limit. Like, obviously, like, there are you know, you can use your common sense. There's a difference between driving a tiny bit outside the rules because kind of everybody does, and you know, you're not really doing anything that's actually dangerous. There's a big difference between that and allowing yourself free reign to be on your phone, to be listening to music, to be drunk, to be stoned, to be going at like triple the speed limit in a residential area, clearly without looking, like clearly was not looking. Because I'd assume when you're driving one of these expensive cars that people drive around to impress other people. I mean, how fucking insecure are you? Like I drive a shit heap of a car. I'm proud of it. Like, I like the fact it's safe, it's sturdy, and it works. And I don't care if it gets damaged. Fine if you like nice cars, but this thing of like wanting people to see you going brum brum in like a shiny vehicle, it's fucking infantile. It's disgusting and infantile. Like, that's not what being a man is. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting idea. It's disgusting behaviour, and it's the opposite of what it's trying to be. And I'm not saying everybody has to drive a shit heap of a car. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with liking nice cars. I'm saying there is something wrong with the like grotesque kind of showy, like performative, self-aggrandizing way that a lot of people engage in this. I see it like it's if you want to endanger yourself, I don't really give a shit. Like, obviously, if you've got a family at home, it's terrible, but that's your fucking business and their business. It's not really society's business. Like, if you want to endanger yourself, cool. You want to do stupid shit. There are people who do that, and it's okay. And no one has a pop at Alex Honnold or whoever who's doing these climbs where he, you know, like doesn't use any harnesses, because he's just endangering himself. And there's a bit more, because, you know, he's obviously, people have to come and like, if he dies, they have to come and scoop his body up off the ground and all of this. And there's all sorts of other factors to consider in his family. But at the end of the day, like, it's not a societal issue. And I always thought that when I would see these people, there's like residential roads where I used to live, and these guys would come down in these shitty like Honda Civics, they'd like painted orange, and they'd be like, and like accelerate insanely fast down the road. And it's like, there's little kids here. Like, is it cool to like kill a child? I don't know. I feel like that's like the opposite of being cool and manly and tough, is like killing a child. Like killing a little boy who's riding his bike or playing football, like an innocent kid who hasn't done anything. How is that? Like, how is endangering children considered cool and manly in any circles? I understand not everybody considers it as such, but how is this considered cool and manly in any circles to endanger like small children and like animals and stuff as well, you know? Like, but particularly like kids, it's like, isn't that the entire point of being a man, is you're supposed to keep women and children safe? Like, isn't that kind of what being a man is? At least that's the part that differentiates it from being a woman or a child, is our role is to like keep women and children safe. Like, so like it just to do that, it's just like it conveys to me the opposite of what it's intending to convey, and just for your own like amusement, for like to satisfy like your childish emotional needs. It's like, there are places you can do that where you're really only endangering yourself. Like, you can just piss off there, and if you want to flip your car over, and you know, we'll still have to pay for it when the fucking emergency services come and get you. But at the end of the day, you're not going to like kill someone's son who's out like trying to like play or something, you know? So it's obscene. And whilst it's like stereotypically male behavior, I think just men and women just have a huge part to play here, because like, obviously some women encourage this kind of behavior and some men engage in it. it's really bad that it's seen as, in many ways, like cool to be ignorant and bad to be sensible and smart and to be safe, to do things in a way that's safe, you know? Like, it shouldn't be cool. And you see it reflected in a lot of ways. I see it with people who work trades and labourers and men who work like menial jobs and stuff. They often seem to take a weird kind of pleasure in doing things in like a incredibly dangerous way. And again, if you do that to endanger yourself, fine, that's whatever, that's your choice. You don't want to like wear equipment and stuff, but like they do things often in a way that's incredibly dangerous, like for the public around them. And it's just kind of like, I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, it's fine. And it's like, it's not actually. It's not fine. It's not fine to endanger people. You're not supposed to do that. Like, that's not what your role is. So I think, yeah, there's a huge moral decline we've had in our society that's reflected in a lot of ways. But I think the main thing is just basic, like very basic morality is not being respected, like is not being adhered to. And we're worrying. It's like you've jumped to levels like 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 of a computer game. You haven't even completed levels 1, 2 and 3. Like, worry about the basic stuff, like not killing people and not pointlessly endangering them and like being there for your family. Then maybe in like 10 years we can talk about like when you've got to this stage, like when people can manage this basic stuff, we can talk about like oh, should you find, is it wrong to not be attracted to someone who's obese? Is that morally wrong? It's like, I don't think we need to talk about that. I don't really think we need to ever discuss that, like ever at all. I don't think we need to really discuss race to the extent that we do. I really don't think so at all. Gender, sexuality, like it's suffocating, and there are so many people. And this example is focused on a particular subset of society and on rap music and whatever, and kind of youth culture, urban youth culture. But this is reflected in so many ways, like so many of these people, you see it online as well, and I've talked about this a lot, and people probably don't agree or don't like it or just wish I still just did videos talking about times I took drugs, but there's a limit to, there's a limit to how many things, how much of that stuff I can talk about. I only have so many stories, but there's people like these people who do these fucking protests and like vandalize Stonehenge and shit, and priceless paintings that like millions of people love, and they're worrying about shit. It's like, this is so outside of your remit. Not because you're not an expert, not because you have to be an expert to care about something. I don't agree with that notion at all. But because you can't even look after yourself. Like, you can't even take care of your body and your health. Why should anybody listen to you when you're not even healthy? Like, you can't even function as a human being. Worry about that first. You have a responsibility to like maintain your life and that of people around you, and like a sensible, safe, healthy existence around you, and then worry about other shit, like sort out your own problems, because we all have them, and we all have to sort them out, like, and then you see it in like I've noticed it a lot, like online, where it's like these people get like cancelled, and we used to have all the big ones. It was like Kevin Spacey and like Harvey Weinstein's, like these powerful moguls and stuff who are abusing people en masse. And then it's like, did you know Brad Taste in Music was psychologically abusing his GF? And there's like thousands of comments from people, and they're like, I can't believe anyone would support this POS. And like, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you even on about? What does this have to do with like society and people around? This isn't your business. This is like some ridiculous shit. Some ridiculous, moronic, like, gossipy shit. And meanwhile, the people who are doing this and talking about it and engaging in it can't even like it's like, what's going on in your life? What's going on in your personal life? If you're talking about someone else's personal life, are we to believe that you're a brilliant family member and a brilliant friend and a brilliant partner, who are you? Like, why are you talking about, we don't know anything about your personal life. Why are you talking about someone else's personal life? We don't even know what yours is. Who are you? You have an anime profile picture. Like, and you're talking about all this moralistic shit. It doesn't really look like it's working. It doesn't look like we're living in a more moral society. It looks like we're actually procrastinating by focusing on like idiotic fucking stuff to replace the fundamental values that we've lost, like core values, basic decency, respect for those around you and for society. Not like, this guy was gaslighting his GF. That's literally abuse, bro. It's like, what are you on about? You're fucking insane. And yeah, it's I don't know. It's, to me, like, I think it's like it's a form of compensation. Like, we kind of miss this stuff, and I don't know exactly where or why it's gone. I do think some of it is to do with the roles that we occupy being kind of eroded, and we're sort of told it's like a bad thing. And I understand to some degree it was, and to some degree it can be, to tell people, oh, you're this, so you should do this, or you're but it's not entirely. I mean, we all understand and agree, like, it's good that there's a difference between a boy and a man, right? Like, you don't take a boy and go deal with the burglars, son. You're a boy. Like, you know, you go, no, let dad go and confront the burglars, if anyone has to, ideally the police, but good luck getting them to come round. They're too busy dealing with people like Ghetts. Go, you know, you know, dad goes and does it, right? Not mum, not grandma, not the boy, not the little girl, not the baby. You know, dad goes and does it. And we all agree that's a good thing, right? We all have different responsibilities and roles. They shouldn't be too rigid. They shouldn't be too... But the more that disappears, and I don't know, though, I think about it a lot. Like, there is a general moral decline. I think it began around the time of the Cultural Revolution. And if you look before then, like, things were drastically different. So much safer and more orderly. Like, certainly in where I come from in Britain in the 1950s, it wasn't a bit safer, it wasn't a bit nicer, it wasn't a bit more orderly. It was a different world. It was a world people can't imagine, where you could leave your bicycle in the street for 2 weeks and come back and it would probably still be there, or it wouldn't be, because someone had taken it and tried to find you and give it back to you, you know. And maybe that's not everywhere, but generally speaking, in towns and villages and stuff, that was how it was. It was about 10 times safer than it is today, and things were orderly. There are a lot of factors. I do genuinely believe there are a lot of factors, and you can't blame one thing and pinpoint one thing, you know. But what is clear is there has been a serious moral decline, and people now think that morals are these really complicated, highfalutin, academic, theoretical things. Let's change the definition of the word racism to reflect that racism can only be against certain groups and not others. Let's talk about, what does it mean, this concept of blackness and female identity, and shut the fuck up. Like, what are you talking about? How about let's just be safe and sensible and take care of each other and be like valuable members of society and not do idiotic shit that endangers other people, and handle your own business. Like, take care of yourself, take care of your health, and stop being a burden on everybody else. Like, get a fucking job and like do shit, contribute something productive. That's the other thing, is like, sometimes these people who there's like these people online who are like, this person said this person did that. And it's like, yeah, but okay, but they've also done a lot of good stuff. Like, what have you ever done? You know, like, well, what have you ever done to contribute to anything? Like, you don't do anything, you know. It's only now, like, it's about like, oh yeah, but I wouldn't do this, or I don't say that, I don't break this rule that we've created in the last 5 years. But what do? You don't do anything. You don't contribute anything. You don't make anything. You don't do anything positive or productive or helpful for anybody. You literally are a parasite, and you just quote weird shit you heard at university or on Twitter and like lecture other people because they broke some kind of like newfangled social rule. That's not morality. That's like mental illness. It's psychosis. It's like thinking that the whole world should conform to this insane, crazy shit that's never worked, that's never helped anybody, that's made everything worse, and you can't even do basic stuff. It's insane. So yeah, to go back to the original point, I mean, Ghetts is now in jail awaiting trial, probably going to go to prison, and it might sound hypocritical because I'm saying, oh, why do people care about shit? Because I don't care about someone doing some shit in their personal life that's like not very nice that I don't even know about. I do care. I walk down the road, like my family walk down the road on public roads and stuff like that. Like that matters. That really matters. Stuff like that. That's like an affront to all of us. Whatever happens between some person and their boyfriend or their girlfriend, it's like, that's kind of on them to deal with. That's kind of their private life, and it's up to them to manage and deal with. And like, it's not anything besides gossip. And if you pretend it's anything more, you're fucking lying to yourself. It's unless that person is literally imprisoned, like it's just gossip. You're just gossiping about someone's personal life. It's irrelevant to the rest of us. But this kind of behaviour is not irrelevant at all to the rest of us. It's incredibly relevant. It's incredibly prescient that like people think it's acceptable to behave like this. The same kind of people like Ghetts who will look down their nose at you for not saying the right things about black people, or for not having the right values, or for not respecting like the hardships he's come from. And it's like, you've just fucking killed a guy who's on his way home from work, and you've driven home and gone to sleep, apparently. Gone to sleep it off. So yeah, don't worry about that. Don't worry about all this other shit. It's clearly way above your station if you can't even just like not drive around murdering people as a 40-something-year-old man. Who, like how many lives this has affected. Like it's crazy. So yeah, that's all. Maybe. I don't know. I hope this was coherent and made sense. I'm expressing a lot of different feelings at once, and it fucking is what it is, basically. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe out there in the world, on the roads. All right. Take care. Thanks for watching. Bye.